You guys saw us last, Flo and I, we've had a couple of weeks go by, and we were able to graduate from the halter to the snaffle bit. Now keep in mind, from the first video we talked about her having some previous learning and experiences with the bit, which was racing and then eventing and going over jumps and kind of getting impulsive and worried. And so there was an association with the bit. So the first couple rides with the snaffle bit did not go super well. It definitely triggered a state of mind in her where there was some previous history and baggage there. So the rides went much better in the rope halter than with the bit. But I was able to develop some strategies with the snaffle to help her learn how to relax while wearing the snaffle, and we're going to share those with you in this video. So a couple things that we found to be super important with riding her with the snaffle. One is giving the bit a different meaning. It was very easy for her to think that any pressure with the bit meant head up, especially if she was getting a little bit impulsive. If you enjoyed this video flow and you'd like to see others, make sure you check out my Patreon page. There'll be a link in the description. Or if you have questions about your horse and you would like some personal coaching from me with you and your horse, you can do that through my Patreon page. Again, link in the description. Let's get back to the video. And so one of the things that we spent some time playing with is lifting this rein and asking her to stretch down. And I like that that's her first response. We're just getting on her now. And so I'm gonna warm her up a little bit with this exercise. We're just gonna ride some circles, and we're gonna remind her and reinforce to her that she could choose to stretch down when she feels that pressure instead of bracing up and reacting to it. Now, because I didn't get here first, so to speak, meaning she had some previous training put in that, in my opinion, wasn't ideal, where she learned to kind of react to the bit. Because that was there first in the sequence, it's gonna, and also it had a high intensity behind it, it's gonna be her default to go back to that position. And so a balance of what we're trying to do here is avoid that in certain ways and not have her go to those, that mental state where she's really worried and braced to the rider with the reins. The other thing we're trying to do is go there a little bit and work through it. And so it's about setting up deliberate situations to chip away at that previous experience. And fortunately for us on the ground, we found some of those patterns to be true. Like she would tend to speed up quickly through a gate, just walking her in and out of a gate, or over obstacles that we take her through in the playground. And so we're able to chip away at that on the ground as well as in the saddle. But this is what I like to do for my warm-up on her. Just get on, ask her to bend her ribs off my inside leg, ask her to stretch down. And I really like that right now we're getting to that first response with the bit is to lower that head down. So that's feeling good. And we're gonna do this on both ways, and we're gonna do this at a trot. So this is gonna take a little bit longer videoing wise, but it's important to set her up for success with it. If I jumped right now into some of the other things we're gonna get into, it would be a little too fast for her. So this initial warm-up time, you have to think of it as being for the horse. You're figuring out where they're at, and in her case, I'm reminding her of her understanding, her new understanding, I should say, with the bit. So let's go ahead and move this into a trot now and see if we can create the same response. The other thing I've been doing is not making her feel wrong anytime she broke gait at the trot. See, so I'm not putting much life into her to get her to go. Like even there, she broke gait as I picked up contact with the bit, and I'm gonna go, that's okay. Because see, it's always easier to do more with a horse. You can always go back and add a little bit more pressure, but what you can't do is go back in time and do less first if you've already, you know, went too fast or put too much pressure on. So I'm always gonna start off slow and release towards the goal as we get along. We can always encourage that forward later on. A different horse, I might do something different. So when you guys watch my videos, any advice that I'm giving is a lot of times is what I'm doing with that particular horse. And if it's otherwise, I usually mention it. But just keep that in mind. I'm not saying you should always let every horse break down to a walk, so don't hold me to it. I'm just saying this horse has a tendency to go way too fast and get emotional. And so I'm gonna leverage anytime she gets to that mental state where she thinks about slowing down and relaxing. Very good. So that's looking really good here. Now I'm going to be doing this for a minute, but we are going to fast forward through a lot of this. But any of the good stuff I'll make sure you guys get to see. We don't like to hide anything that we're doing. So we're going to go ahead and reverse here. That felt good. Sometimes she can get emotional through that change of direction, so that felt pretty nice. She actually slowed down, if anything. There we go. Pick up here. So I'm balancing her flexion with my outside rein and just lifting and just being annoying and saying, you can have your head up, but I'm just going to follow you there, and I'm going to be a little bit annoying with that pressure up here. If you want my hands to go away and you want me to get softer, go ahead and lower your head down there, and that's where the pressure will go away. Now, I don't know if you guys heard that, if the mic picked it up, but she had kind of a grunt slash deep breath. And you can see, it's easy for her to initially expect some pressure coming on from the rider to start off with. Good. So she's handling that well. So here I'm going to sit, see if she can follow my life down. That was pretty nice. So now the next thing we've been playing with is working on her soft feel with the bit when things are going slow. Because again, you can see right there, her first response to that bit is to brace up to it. So what I'm doing is I'm setting a frame with my hands, and if she leans on it, I'm squeezing with my leg a little bit more. So I'm saying to her, I'm not going to pull on you and put more pressure on you in your mouth with the bit, but I will add more pressure with my legs. Very good. Now, there was a good question on the last video, and somebody said, well, if she's got baggage kind of with the bit, do you have to ride her with the bit, or could you just ride her with something else? And yeah, you absolutely could. She would get along really well in a Bosal or a Hackamore and riding around in that, and that would serve her very well. I do think she can learn, it's amazing how adaptable horses are, and I do think she can learn how to get along with the snaffle bit and just understand what that pressure means as well. If it was so bad that I thought she couldn't understand that pressure and that it just wasn't making any sense to her, I would recommend that, and that we stay out of her mouth with the bit and just stick with that. But she seems to be understanding it, as you guys can see. I mean, this is in just a few minutes of getting on her here, so we're going to keep it rolling. So now I'm just going to play with that soft feel at a trot. So basically, I'm just going to trot her, and I'm going to start to go to contact and just see if that can mean give to the bit a little bit. So she's leaning, so I got a little inside leg, and then I get soft to her. So again, we're just reprogramming her, just saying, hey, this could actually mean get soft, and I want to teach her to understand what that bit means. It would be a little easier to just completely give her a loose rein, actually, and not pick up the reins at all. And that's kind of what I was referring to earlier of, on one hand, I'm going to avoid it. So me giving her a big loose rein is avoiding that contact and where those trigger points are. Me picking up contact, like right here, and asking her to give me a little soft feel is me embracing that and saying, hey, you could understand this and you could do something else with it. And I'm really happy with how this is feeling right now. She's come quite a long ways with this in a few weeks. Very nice, very nice. She's holding it longer and longer. Starting to lose it. So now my leg comes on, inside leg. She found it again. Very good. And she's slowing down too, and that's okay for now. I'm not trying to ride her like she's a dressage horse at the moment. I'm not thinking about her getting collected. I'm not doing it. I'm not saying that I'm doing that. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to make sure she understands me and I understand her. Trying to build some communication. That's what this is about. The fancy stuff will follow if you have confidence, communication, and relaxation. So this is feeling pretty good. So I'm going to go for it here. We're going to go ahead and send her into a little canter. Softly. So you're going to see me ease her into it. I'm not going to goose her into it and push hard and get her to canter right away. So a little bit outside leg, a little smooch here, a little kiss. Tip her into that lope. Get a little soft feel and then turn her loose. Just see if we can cruise around here. There, I don't know if you guys could hear that. She just kind of had a blowout. Really nice. So I don't think she's quite ready for the contact at a canter. I'm just gonna ride, what I call riding and guiding, just loose rein, just cruise around. Let her have those releases, stay out of her way, stay out of her mouth. Just let her find a little relaxation. If I turn sharp, you know, if she speeds up, I'll turn sharper to help rate the speed, just like I advise. If she breaks gait, no big deal, but this is one of her better canters of maintaining it, so I'm really happy with how this is feeling today. Once in a while, when she gets into the canter, she can kind of go into racehorse mode and really kind of go fast and get bracy. And then all we do is just bend her down. Hold, hold, hold. I try to stay soft in my body. There, until she gets soft in me. Super. So, that's another example of, again, we're going to go there. You know, it's like, okay, we're going to canter you a little bit. We're going to bring those emotions up, and we're going to see if you can work through it. And then we're going to retreat, and we're going to slow back down, and we're going to come back to a walk and something easy that you understand. Give her a chance to decompress like she is, and we'll try it again to the right. But you can see if I didn't give her that chance to decompress, if I just kept cantering her around, she was getting more amped up as I was going, not more relaxed. But truthfully, that was one of the longer sequences of canter without her getting bothered that we've had. And so we're just going to keep building this and growing. It's like a muscle, right? Her learning to use the thinking side of her brain more and be what we call left-brained. It's like a muscle, and the more you work it and flex it, the stronger it's going to get. And so we can do that by teaching her to do things on the ground that she's not been asked to do a lot of, like backing up, side passing, going over obstacles and not rushing through them, riding on a loose rein. All that stuff gives her responsibility, and this is what I'm all about, is establishing connection and communication with them where they're understanding what it is we're trying to do and keeping it going. So that's what we've been up to with Flo. I'm going to go ahead and work her on the right side now. I appreciate you guys watching. If you're enjoying this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys on the next one.